Kwese Free Sports and Ghana Broadcasting Corporation launched their coverage of the 2018 FIFA World Cup last week at the Airport View Hotel. The launch was graced by dignitaries in the football fraternity, including Black Stars coach Kwese Abubakar Damba, J.E. Sapon, and several others. African representatives in next year's World Cup were drawn in Group A, Group B, D, G, and H. Kwese Free Sports caught up with Black Stars coach Kwese Abubakar Damba, Michael Otiaje, and Felix Omak for their thoughts on the draw.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Looking at the groups, the groups are it's like they are even most of the groups. What you say is you can pinpoint only one, maybe say 100% sure, maybe this one will go, but the rest of them you're not able to, to say it. But it's going to be very competitive. The mere fact that most of the countries are all of the same level, they will have to compete to join maybe one or two who are only doing well. Some of the African countries are really strong. So most of them have got young players, who are actually willing to, fight for their country. The most important thing is their attitude on and off the pitch, is the most important thing that we should be looking at. If a team like Nigeria and Senegal, I believe that there are two teams that can qualify to the next stage. And the only way they can go much further is their attitude off the pitch. Because on the pitch, they have to be tactically disciplined, and that can take them far.
Coach, you played Portugal in the 2014 World Cup. You lost 2-1 to them. Morocco, for instance, then the group of Portugal and Spain. Morocco bossed the qualification series. They qualified without conceding even a single goal. If you were to advise Hervé Renat in his game against Portugal, what would you tell him?
No, you see, Morocco also, played. I don't know whether I think they did not concede any goal, or because if they did not, then automatically that means they have a very good defense. So it's important he tries to polish his attacking machinery so that they can penetrate the Portuguese. But I keep saying there's no middle in these games. The most important thing is the team going on the pitch tactically, disciplined to play the roles that they've been given. And the mere fact that Morocco could not concede, that means their defense is really, really strong. So they need to work on the attacking part of it. You see, when you have Cup of Nations, you get a lot of time, to stay with your players. That also bonds the player. They are able to play together as a team. Now, going into the World Cup competition, whereby you only play an assigned match, there will be no CAF competition, allowing our competitors to play friendly matches. You see, those two friendly matches are not enough because your players will come from Europe, play for 3-4 days, play the match and go back. So you can't bond them. But the Cup of Nations, once it's there, you will have the players at least 2 weeks, and before going to the competition. So you spend a lot of time with them, and then you carry on to the World Cup. So that would have been the best. But since the change has come, we also need to find means to adjust to the situation.
Thank you very much. Morocco, Egypt, Senegal, and Tunisia. Which of these countries do you think will make it through their group?
I believe that Nigeria and Tunisia are doing very well, and I trust that they can go a bit further.
You played Egypt. Are you saying that Egypt are not good enough?
No, we played Egypt, but as I said, most of the time, all the attacking machinery is being dependent on only one player, and it's not the best, because once it's closed down, then it becomes a problem. But if they can work on and try to get 2 or 3 players who are playing at the highest level, then automatically other teams will not plan only against Salah, but will plan against the 3 of them, which will make it possible for them to score more goals.
Well, I must say, in my opinion, this draw has been a very good one. I don't see vividly any group of death, but I think that so far as African teams are concerned, we are well placed. We look at Group A, for instance, where we have our Egypt brothers. Hitherto, Ghana would have been in that group if we had qualified. I can see Egypt against Argentina and Croatia. Egypt has a very slight chance. Looking at how they fared throughout the competition, that is the qualifying stage. But with Egypt, they play very well as a team. But when it comes to goal scoring, they are over-reliant on one player, and that is Salah. And that is where I have my difficulty. But this is the World Cup we are talking about, which you rightly mentioned. Yes, it was played yesterday on paper. It is still played on paper as well, because you need to look at tactics and deploy your players as to how to fare against the opponent. And I think that with all this put together and you put all this and look at them, put them into perspective, I think Egypt has a very, very good chance if they can hold their axe and put their axe together. Now, mind you, Egypt of yesteryears was more European. Their style of play was more European. But now they are blending the African and European style, which works very well for them. And I think this is what is going to aid them and propel them to the next round. For me, I think Egypt stands a very, very good chance to propel themselves to the next round of the competition.
FIFA has found a way of making Argentina and Nigeria a man and a wife. 4 times they've met. This is the 5th time both teams are in the same group again. Are they going to be the threat for Nigeria's chances of making it through their group?
Whether it is by fate or orchestrated, but I think that it is just as a matter of coincidence that you always find Nigeria and Argentina somehow slotting it out. But I think it's going to be very, very interesting again to see Nigeria and Argentina again. Nigeria has been on the rise now after reformation. Now I think that they have a well rejuvenated team. They play with more agency, they are more committed, and they show more character. They have a youthful team now, and I think that this time Argentina is not like Argentina of yesteryears, where they could rely on individuals to see them through. But I see Argentina maybe somehow struggling against a rejuvenated Nigerian squad. Mind you, they played a friendly game just very recently, and it was not a very bad game again, especially for Nigeria. So I see Nigeria, seeing themselves again one more time.
Finally, before I touch on you, on the teams you think will make it out of their group stages, Morocco is in the group of Spain and Portugal. We saw them bounce the qualifying series. They went through without conceding even a single goal. Do they have a bright chance of making it through?
The situations are very, very different. Let's look at the materials that you play against. Morocco played in Africa, they did so well. And that was on the... Mali was in their group, Gabon was in their group. Understandably so. That is one continent we are talking about. Now they are moving a step ahead into the world stage, where you have, wonderful players who are playing for very big teams, and they show a lot of character in their teams, and they are doing so well. So Morocco will not have it too easy. Yes, in Africa they did so well at that level, wonderful. But Morocco will not get it easy in this World Cup because they are coming against some of the best players. Yes, Spain, we all know, wonderful team work, wonderful individual players, undoubtedly. So they are going to really face, it's going to be a daunting task for them, I must tell you. Very, very daunting.
Which African country do you think will go through?
In my opinion, I see Egypt in Group A because of the stance. Egypt in Group A, and also I'm looking at Nigeria and Egypt. If they really put their acts well together, I can see these two teams sailing through to the next round.
Thank you very much. Is it in there?
No, it was not an issue. I think the fact that the Black Stars is not at the World Cup sank in long ago. It sank in way back when at the halfway stage of the World Cup. So at this stage, I was clearly aware. Maybe it was a bit in the morning when I thought, oops, probably would have been in Russia by now. attending the draw if Ghana was in there. But that chapter is gone. It's gone. It's now up to the 5 African countries present in the tournament to go on and represent the continent with distinction.
Talking about the 5 African countries, what do you make of their groups?
It's a good balance. I think to start with, if we don't have 2 minimum getting out of the group stages, then in my mind there is a problem. This would be a major platform, and it's a big opportunity for the teams to speak of how far the continent has come, and the groups gives them a fair chance. Morocco has a tough group. I think Portugal, Spain is very difficult, and then you throw in Iran as well. You know, their consistency and the way they buzzed the World Cup qualifiers was in itself impressive. Nigeria has Argentina to deal with again, and then you've got Croatia in there who are no pushovers by any means. So that is not exactly a cheap group. Senegal must come up against Poland, Robert Lewandowski and the rest, but Senegal have Sadio Mane, you know. And then Senegal must as well face, I think they had Japan as well in the group. The balance of it is good. The bottom line is that there's nothing frightening about any of those groups. In my mind, a lot of the draws for the African teams requires a lot of work, as it always does, but they are not daunting. And if we don't have at least 2 teams out of the group, I will consider it a major failure.
The Nigeria-Argentina marriage once again.
It's an interesting one. It always happens. And often Argentina tends to win those games, but they struggle for the wins. And I probably think it will be the same in Russia. I was having a chat with Carl before, and I was discussing how this World Cup may well be Argentina's year. Messi is in great form, his last chance to win anything major. Higuain, Sergio Aguero, Di Maria if he's fit. They can't get Dybala into the team. It's just a wonderful team. Or let me say, a wonderful group of individuals. And Jorge Sampaoli has between now and the end of the year to put it together. But we saw Nigeria beat Argentina in a friendly. In a friendly where Argentina played with all their big boys. They would take incredible encouragement from that game. And for me, that is what makes it interesting.
So which 2 African countries do you think will go through their groups?
If I was to pick just 2, I think it will be more than 2. Egypt should be able to get out of their group. Uruguay, great team, but beatable. Russia, the host nation, will play with a lot of support. So I think they will be quite difficult to beat. The Saudi Arabia, gonna beat them 3-0, but they didn't play with their strongest team, so that's another story for a different day. I think Egypt, Nigeria should be able to get out, and I think Senegal as well.
Portugal, Spain, Morocco. I think that group is very tough. Do you agree with the assertion that there's no group of death?
There is, and I agree with you. I think for Portugal, Spain, they are neighbors. You can even talk about Morocco. Geographically, Morocco is closer to Spain and Portugal. So it's going to be very, very tough for whichever team qualify from that particular group. But then you look at the Spanish team, I don't think that they won't be able to qualify. They will surely get out of that group, even as group winners. And so for me, that particular group will surely, for the slot of the second place team, I think that it will be between Morocco and then Portugal. And I think that one thing about Moroccans, and especially the North African teams, is whenever they get to the World Cup, they always want to play like the Europeans. And you can't play better than the way the Europeans are. If they go into that particular World Cup or those games in the group with the mentality of an African countries, like the way they play the qualifiers, like the way they feel, they didn't concede a goal. If they have the African mentality, it can help them to qualify from that particular group. But if they go with the European mentality, I don't see them getting a chance of qualifying from that particular group.
That's a very big advice. But if you cast your eyes across Nigeria, there's no single player you can point out there. But if you go to the Senegal setup, people say that the only star you can look out for in that Senegal setup is Sadio Mane. You go to the Egyptian side, they're talking about Mohamed Salah. You go to the Moroccan side, they're talking about Abdino. Are these teams going to rely on these individuals to pull their countries through in this campaign?
You see, we always say that individuals don't play football. When you have a team, when you play as a team, you defend as a team, you attack as a team. If you are playing as a solid unit, it will surely get you the results. But in particular games, you have things going very difficult for you, and you need the individual brilliance of certain players in your team. So it is always good to play as a team, but then you need the individual brilliance of these particular players to get things going for you. If you look at Argentina, for instance, they nearly failed to qualify for the World Cup. They had a brilliant chap in Messi. He solely got them qualification to the World Cup in Russia. So each of the teams will go with a special player, but the most important thing is to go to the World Cup and play as a team. And when the going gets tough, the individual brilliance of these players can rescue you out from a difficult situation.
It will be blasphemous to speak to you without asking you, in the 5 countries that are representing the continent, which of these countries will go through from their groups?
I think in recent times, in recent World Cup, it has always been the teams that are coming from West Africa. And earlier on, I talk about the North Africans going to the World Cup and playing like the Europeans. If you look at the West African countries, they go there, try to play their physical game, try to defend very tight and play on the counter and get the goal and try and defend it. If you look at this Nigerian team, they will go to the World Cup and play like Africans. Senegal, I expect them to do the same. If you look at the performance of the African teams, if you look at the Nigerian team that qualified from the group against Argentina in USA 94, they were very physical. If you look at Senegal, when they beat the defending champions then in France, they were very physical. If you look at the Ghanaian team that did well in South Africa, we were very, very physical. So for me, I think out of the 5 teams, I think the 2 West African teams should be able to get out of their group and to make African proud. For several reasons, and then the reason why I stated earlier on about these North Africans, I don't really see them, getting far in this tournament and making Africa proud. I think African chances of getting far will surely depend on what the teams from the West will do.
The World Cup will begin on June 14, 2018. All games will be on Kwese Free Sports and Kwese Sports.